A woman's driving down a lonely road in the Mojave Desert. It's night. She sees weird lights, shadows in the road. Her car stalls. What happens next? Oh yeah. If I had a nickel for every UFO story I heard coming out of the Mojave Desert, I'd be a very rich man. And though they're all fascinating, it's the ones that involve supposed alien contact that I love the most. Now, strange lights in the skies? Yeah, interesting. But to be standing face to face with a being from another world or another dimension, or maybe even a lot closer than we think. One starry night in 1977, a 59-year-old woman left her family's remote ranch near the edge of Death Valley. She was making a trip across the Mojave Desert to visit her sister, a journey that took her through some pretty rugged and lonely country. Driving at night to avoid the heat, she wasn't expecting to see anyone on the way, but as she rounded a corner near the mountains, she saw what she thought were the flashing lights of an emergency vehicle in the road ahead. Coming closer, she was amazed as the lights started to change shape and intensity before suddenly zooming straight at her and bursting into a blinding flash. At the same time, her car stalled. The headlights went off. The doors unlocked themselves. Then in an instant, the light went out, leaving her in complete darkness, but only for a few seconds. When the light came back on, the woman was shocked to see a tall, dark figure standing directly in front of her in the middle of the road. Hearing a noise to her left, she turned and was terrified to see another figure standing right next to her driver's side window. She watched as the dark figure raised a hand and placed it on the window. But what she saw was not the hand of any human, but a reptile-like claw that made the entire window vibrate and shake. Overwhelmed with fear, she passed out. When she awoke, her car was sitting in the middle of the empty road with the headlights on. The strange lights and figures were gone. The woman found herself crying and overwhelmed with a vague feeling of having been, in her own words, violated. It took several moments to gather her wits before the poor woman started the car and continued on to her sister's house, where she there collapsed and spent the next week in bed. She never told a soul what had happened, saying only that she had taken sick during the drive. It wasn't until 2 decades later, when the woman was dying of cancer and on her deathbed, that she confessed to her daughter what had really happened on that lonely desert road. A terrifying secret she had kept to herself for all those years. Now, I included this story today because it has all the attributes of your classic UFO close encounter. Missing time, strange lights, a lonely spot in the desert. But the woman's daughter told me her mother never said it was a UFO or that she thought it was aliens. Her mother was very religious. She viewed it as a demonic happening, something the devil put out to ensnare her or to torture her or to torment her, and that she carried this belief all through the rest of her life. To her, it wasn't beings from another world, it was beings from the underworld. And that makes my point for today. Being human, we perceive everything according to our belief systems, or our education, or our culture. This woman, being religious, thought it was the devil. On the surface, it sounds like a UFO encounter. What really happened? Who knows? Unless you were there, you don't know for sure. It all comes down to the person's perception. For eons, Native Americans have believed in a wide range of supernatural beings with strange powers and abilities. And to them, the vast Mojave Desert is not simply cactus, dirt, and rocks, but an actual living, breathing thing, an entity with its own consciousness. To the earliest white explorers, the Mojave was a vast wilderness to be conquered. But miners and prospectors also reported strange lights and encounters in the desert. Often called ghost lights or hoodoos, they were thought to be associated with radioactive uranium deposits, or to some, the lingering spirits of unlucky people who had met their death in the so-called cruel desert. And now with our modern sensibilities, we tend to see these things as physical constructs or devices, the totems of some type of advanced alien technology. But are they? Could the original inhabitants of the desert be right? And these encounters and stories are all because the wild desert is some sort of vortex or portal, an entry spot to powers or phenomena we still don't understand. And perhaps it's only our own belief systems that assign it a meaning or cause. UFO, devil, nature spirit, or possibly something else entirely. I'm ML Behrman, and this is Mojave Mysteries.